Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. Actually, yikes. JR is still down for the count. He is hurting for certain. We mentioned last week that he had a little dental work done and didn't feel like he could podcast, and that is still the case today. So thoughts and prayers to JR. I know he is absolutely miserable right now. Can't even get him on the phone. He's texting me, but apparently it's not comfortable to communicate and talk. So yeah, a podcast for 2 hours with me busting your balls, maybe not the easiest thing. So what we decided to do was reach into the archives, deep into those adfreeshows.com archives. And we found something from 1991. Of course, we're talking about JR's fabulous radio show. This was during the WCW era, specifically September 8th, 1991. And we welcome onto the show Dennis Brent and Paul E. Dangerously. Now, Dennis Brent was the magazine editor for WCW, and he's going to give some insight as to what goes into the WCW magazine, which I have to tell you, I absolutely loved as a kid. And Paul E. Dangerously is here to discuss all the happenings in WCW as well. That's right. Paul E. Dangerously, your humble advocate, Paul Heyman, is going to appear on today's program in a throwback wink, wink interview from 1991. Paul E. Dangerously is going to be answering caller questions, and wouldn't you guess, maybe beat them up along the way. Such fun. They'll be talking about Clash of the Champions 16. That was the fall Brawl show. A really interesting card where we saw some interesting gimmicks. Oz was on that show. Big Josh was on that show. PN News was on that show. Bad Street Under a Hood wrestling Brian Pillman. Yeah, that's actually Brad Armstrong. And a lot of other cool stuff. You know, you would see Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko become the tag champs. And you had Ron Simmons in there, and Diamond Stud was on the show. And there's a lot of fun stuff on the show, including Johnny B. Bad and Sting for the U.S. title. So they'll talk about what a fun time Clash of the Champions 16 was, because when you really look at all the talent on that card, it's kind of a head scratcher that WCW wasn't booming in 1991. They'll also talk about the 2 out of 3 falls stipulation that's been added to the world title match at Halloween Havoc between Lex Luger and Ron Simmons. But that is one of 2 tapes that we've got. Stay tuned, because part 1 is all about 1991. But we'll be back for 1992 on this same episode. Don't go anywhere. And in the meantime, let me just remind you that today's episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. And if you haven't tried it already, what are you waiting for? Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers to you the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the process is simple. You'll sign up at BlueChew.com. You'll consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And here's the best part. It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. But there won't be anything discreet about your package. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. So discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And boy, do we have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code JR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code is JR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. So without further ado, let's get going on this throwback tape from JR's radio show, 1991 on deck. But stay tuned. Coming up later, 1992.
With Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. You can talk to America's leading wrestling broadcaster and his guests. Call 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thanks very much, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to AM 750 WSB, Wrestling with Jim Ross. I have some special guests here in the studio, and tonight we're going to be talking about your thoughts on the Clash of Champions held this past Thursday night, and we'll be reviewing some of the things that happened there. Also, we'd like to know what you think about this Sting situation. Someone obviously wants him out of WCW very badly, and well, maybe we can narrow it down to who we think it might be here tonight on the program. We also would like to know what you think about the 2 out of 3 fall world title match at Halloween Havoc between Lex Luger and Ron Simmons. The 2 out of 3 fall issue is what we'd like to hear your feelings on. We'll also talk about, and we do have the card for the next Omni event on Saturday night, October the 12th. So including our television lineup this coming weekend, and talking about the Clash repeat, which is this Thursday night at 10:35. We will have a lot to talk about, and we'll be doing so with the editor of WCW Magazine, Dennis Brent. Dennis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jim.
Dennis here in the studio, and of course, he's conspicuously quiet, but only for a moment. Paul E. Dangerously is here as well.
Well, you saved the best for last, and yes, I am here as well.
So we have...
I don't see enough at work.
We have some experts. We have some experts in here, ladies and gentlemen, or at least some that think they are. So we're going to take your calls
But don't be that hard on Dennis.
And we also have
little feelings.
We also have a very unique trivia question. And if you watch a Clash of Champions, then you're going to have an opportunity to win the Stomp Collection from Impel Marketing. If you can correctly answer our trivia question, first-time winners only. We're going right to the phones. Remember, if you'd like to participate, it's 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. All of our lines are full right now, but keep trying because we're going to go through a lot of calls here tonight. And we are now talking, let's see. Hi, Peter.
Hey, Jim Ross, how you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I've got a comment and a question.
Okay.
Yeah, the question is, were the Steiners stripped of the IWGP titles?
No, to my knowledge, they were not. Apparently, the Japanese have a different rule structure than we do here, but they are still the IWGP champions.
Okay, and my comment is, I really don't think that it's all that fair. When Ric Flair got injured a couple of years ago, he got to keep the title about 3 months, but when the Steiners get injured, they get stripped of it immediately.
Well, I think that Ric Flair situation was an example for the rule to change and to be more beefed up. I think after Ric Flair was out those 3 months with injury, the WCW Championship Committee saw that they couldn't allow that to happen again.
Yeah.
So you guys got any comments on that, Paul?
Well, also, it was obvious that Scotty wasn't going to be back in 3 months. It was going to be more like 5 or 6. So you just can't stretch it out that long.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Peter, for calling the program. We're not here on AM 750.
He said Paul, not Dennis. So next time,
you want
don't
to talk
bring the
to
microphone
the person who
down.
knew the answer.
But you don't know the answer. That's not even the real answer.
Quiet.
Back to the telephone.
What are you, my mother now?
Sean, how you doing? You're in Powder Springs, and thanks for calling the program.
I'm pretty good.
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay, I have a question, comment, concern, and a complaint. I'm trying to make it real fast.
All right, it's only 1 hour now.
Okay. The question is, are you worried about this box incident with Sting being a repeat of the Black Scorpion? And do you think it'll put Sting in a mental condition where he might get snuck up on and maybe lose the U.S. title?
Paul, you want to answer that?
I know for a fact that it has nothing to do with the Black Scorpion, and the person that's behind it is obviously not going for Sting's mind or attention. This is a physical thing with Sting. I mean, if you'd hire Cactus Jack and you hire Abdullah the Butcher, you're not just hiring a couple of wrestlers that are popping out of this box. You're hiring paid assassins, and whomever wants Sting out wants him out permanently for good.
What's another question, Sean?
Oh, well, okay, I got a concern that with all these news editions of like Johnny B. Bad and this headbanger guy and PNDs and all that, if the WCW is going to try to make a change to the kind of wrestling that is shown on the WWF.
Well, I personally hope not.
Me too.
I hope we go back to hard-hitting wrestling action like it should be. Dennis, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it might seem that these guys are just flashy characters, but they do know how to wrestle. And, that's what it all boils down to.
Sean, thanks for calling tonight on AM 750 WSB. Back to the telephones. Hi, Chris. How you doing tonight in Marietta?
Fine. How are you, Jim?
Good, thank you.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi,
Paul.
hello.
I have 3 quick questions.
Okay.
What happened to J.W. Storm?
Paul, you can answer that.
J.W. Storm is a professional prize fighter, and wrestling is just one of the 3 sports that he's well-versed in. Wrestling, boxing, and kickboxing. Right now, he's kickboxing in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and when he's done with the present tournament, I heard he's going to enter a tough man tournament, and after he's done with that, maybe he'll come back to wrestling.
Okay. And my second question, what happened to Gordon Soley? I haven't seen him in a while.
Gordon's on some of our...
Medicare.
No, he's on some of our programs that do not air here. He still works for us. He's still on TV, and he does a lot of work on our live wrestling hotline events.
Okay, my last question, who did Sting face in the final round of the Omni?
Dennis was there.
That was Stunning Steve Austin.
All right. Okay, thanks, Chris, for calling tonight on AM 750 WSB. We're going to a long-distance line. We're going to New York City. And, Don, you got a question about Bill Kazmaier?
Yes, I do. First of all, I wanted to know, is he going to go up against possibly Nikita Koloff in the future?
No, there was talk of that, but I don't think that's going to occur because Nikita Koloff's no longer wrestling with WCW.
Oh, okay. Also, a quick comment. I want to know, I've gotten the signal, the WSB signal on my radio really very barely, but I want to know if it'll come in clearer in the future.
They tell me that when it gets darker earlier, that during the fall and winter months, I don't know the reason, it may sound crazy, but it comes in rather clear in that area as the weather gets colder.
And are you going to be coming to I know you're going to have a Meadowlands card in the future, but are you going to be possibly at the Garden or the Nassau Coliseum in New York anytime soon?
No, because the WWF has an exclusive agreement with both those buildings to provide their wrestling there, so we will be in the Meadowlands will be our home. Paul knows more about that, I guess, huh, Paul?
I know a lot about the Meadowlands, and we will be back in the Meadowlands, from what I understand, sometime before Christmas. What part of New York City are you from, actually?
I'm from Queens.
Oh, well, you see, now the problem is, if you lived in a more expensive part of New York City, you could get the signal in really strong. But, those far-out places like, plus he's near LaGuardia Airport, and he's near Shea Stadium, so it is a lot of interference.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get the signal in clearly. Move to a rich section, you'll be able to hear it a lot better.
Don, thanks for calling tonight in New York City. We appreciate you listening here to AM 750 WSB. Another long-distance line, Albertville, Alabama. Hi, Joel.
Hi, how you doing, Jim?
Good.
Polly and Dennis?
What's on your mind tonight?
I have two questions.
All right.
One of them is about what has happened to three wrestlers.
Okay.
Tim Horner, Minotaur, and Dan Spivey. And the second question is the Ultimate Warrior possibly coming to the WCW?
Let's see. Tim Horner is he's still hurt, didn't he?
Tim injured his neck about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and he is still out from that injury.
And Minotaur, I think Minotaur's selling real estate in Canada. Really, I'm serious.
And Dan Spivey's in Japan.
Yeah, Dan Spivey wrestles some independent dates in America, but he wrestles the bulk of his year is taking up wrestling in the Orient. And what's the Ultimate Warrior?
Mm-hmm. Is he coming to WCW?
There's been no talk about the Ultimate Warrior coming to WCW. As far as we know, he's still employed with the WWF, and as long as that exists, there would be no interest whatsoever.
Also, do you know any of the cards for Halloween Havoc? Me and a friend of mine from that I work with is going to be there at UT Arena. I was wondering if you know.
The only match that's been announced officially, and you guys can talk about this real quickly, 2 out of 3 falls. Simmons versus Luger for the World's Heavyweight Championship, and I stress the 2 out of 3 falls. I think that's very important. What do you think about that, as a matter of fact, Joel?
I like that. I think that's going to be a great match.
Dennis, what do you think about 2 out of 3 falls?
Well, I think it's really called for this particular time because over the last couple of weeks I've seen these guys wrestle in several main events around the country, and each time the finish was not what it should have been, and with a 2 out of 3 fall match, I think you'll get the best athlete coming out on top.
Paul, I'd love to have your comments on this subject, but we do need to take a break, and we'll get them in just a few moments. Fans, if you'd like to join us, you can call 872-0750, long-distance lines, 1-800-WSB-TALK. This is Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Welcome back, everyone. Wrestling with Jim Ross. I'm here with Dennis Brent, editor of the WCW Magazine. Of course, the WCW Magazine is on newsstands nationwide, and the second edition of the WCW Magazine will be out a little bit later this month. Dennis, when's it supposed to be on the newsstands?
It'll be out September 24th. It has Lex Luger on the cover.
Lex Luger. Is this a shot of his big head or his whole body?
This was taken after he won the title at the Bash, and so basically that's what he's doing is showing off his new belt.
So Lex Luger will be on the cover of the new WCW Magazine.
The poster is a 2-sided sting.
That's good. That's good. 75 degrees right now in Atlanta. If you'd like to join our program and talk about wrestling tonight, we've talked about the Clash of Champions. We've talked about who might want Sting out of WCW. We've talked about the significance of the 2 out of 3 fall match involving Lex Luger and Ron Simmons at Halloween Havoc pay-per-view on October 27th. We've also talked a little bit about the Omni event on Saturday, October 12th. More on all those subjects. And 872-0750 is our local number. 1-800-WSB-TALK is our long-distance number. Now, let me get this trivia question rolling here. If John is ready in there, our trivia line is 7410750. That's 7410750. At last Thursday's Clash of Champions event, who are the final 4 men left in the Battle Royal? If you are the first caller at 7410750, you'll win the Stomp Collection from Impel Marketing, a big shelf box full of those. We're going to go back to the telephones, but it's all right with you guys. And
I might mention, by the way, for those people who did miss the Clash, it will be replayed this coming Thursday at 10:35 Eastern Time.
That's true. It's a good show.
What time in California, Paul?
Well, what am I now? I'm a student in your class, huh? It's 7:35.
Very good.
You're so
You got
nice.
your calculator out.
I don't need a calculator,
All
Munchkin.
Hi, Corey.
Hi.
How you doing?
What do you want?
I've got 3 questions. I think it's Lex Luger that wants Sting out of wrestling. What do you think about that?
I think that's probably a good assumption. I think that's probably going to be a lot of speculation directed toward Lex Luger. Time will tell. Who else?
And I think that Brad Armstrong is Bad Street from the Freebirds. And do you know what happened with Butch Reed? Do you know where he is?
I heard Butch Reed was doing some rodeoing. You guys, Paul or Dennis, have anything on that?
I spoke to Butch Reed earlier this week. Butch Reed is doing a lot of rodeoing, as you might say, down in the South. And from what I understand, he'll continue to do that through the end of the year, and then he's going to make a career decision whether to continue doing that or come back to wrestling.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Corey, for calling AM 750 WSB. Back to the telephones. Hi, Chris in Snellville. What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, do you know the results from the Omni?
The entire card?
Yes, sir.
You guys, we know that Lex Luger defeated Ron Simmons to retain the title, and we know that
El Gigante defeated One Man Gang and shaved the sides of his head and his beard and mustache off.
Yeah, and Sting won the U.S. title. That's all I know. I wish I could help you more. Thanks for calling, though, and we'll try to get those results a little closer as the next event. Hi, Ethan. You're in Cartersville?
Yeah.
How you doing tonight?
Just fine.
Good. What's on your mind?
I'd like to know where Diamond Dallas Page is.
Where is he?
'Cause I ain't seen him in a while.
Right now, he's probably not.
Well, one thing is the Freebirds fired him from being their managerial kingpin there, and he is.
Now, how do you know that?
Well,
how do you know he was fired?
That's in the next issue of our magazine. They gave us an interview.
He's a journalist.
Right.
And they said that he was fired. They didn't say that the contract
And Big
expired.
Daddy Dink also.
They didn't say that the term of the contract was expired and they just didn't renew it.
What do
He
you
was
think,
fired.
Paul, that the WCW magazine is based on hearsay like a lot of other wrestling publications?
Yes, if he's the editor, I
the
sure
night
do.
that the Freebirds lost the 6-man titles, Daddy Dink missed his plane, and they held that against him. Anyway, Diamond Dallas Page is co-host on WCW Pro Wrestling with Eric Bischoff.
Right, and that's seen in many parts of the country. It's not seen here in Atlanta, though, unfortunately. Anything else tonight, Ethan?
Yeah, I'd like to know, let's see. Oh, yeah, I'd like to tell Paul Lee that he is one of the greatest commentators in WCW.
See, we have intelligent
Thank you
callers
very
on
much.
the show.
That's right. Thanks, Ethan, for calling us from Carter.
The check is in the mail.
Sure is. And he does respect you as we speak.
But to show you that we're fair in our magazine, we do give several pages to Paul.
No, you don't give it. I took it.
Well, let's still get into how it was arrived at. Hi, Tony. You're calling us from where in Illinois?
Peatone.
Where's that?
It's about an hour outside of Chicago.
Okay. What's on your mind tonight? Thanks for calling, by the way.
Yeah, I was wondering, what purpose is Dusty Rhodes going to serve at Halloween Havoc? I know he's supposed to be a special ref at the Omni, but...
Yeah, he's going to be a special referee at the Omni on October 12th when Luger and Hughes take on Simmons and Wyndham, and Dusty will be the referee for that match. I've got my own thoughts on that. Paul, what do you think?
Oh, I didn't know that Dusty Rhodes was going to be at Halloween Havoc. The only thing I know that Dusty Rhodes is doing as of this moment is that he's scheduled to be at the Omni as a special referee on Saturday, October the 12th at 8 p.m. with Luger and Hughes.
He's probably referring to coming out in Simmons' entourage at the Clash of Champions.
Well, I don't know why Dusty Rhodes was in Ron Simmons' entourage.
All right, if you don't know, okay, Dennis, do you know?
Well, I was there for the press conference. I saw what happened, but I did not talk to him.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes has been a world champion 3 times. Perhaps Ron, is consulting with Dusty regarding his preparation for the match.
The way Luger
that's a very good question, Tony. We don't really know. We're speculating, and that's something that hopefully we'll be able to update everybody on either on television this weekend or perhaps next Sunday night here on the program.
Also, I was wondering, a couple weeks ago, the Ultimate Warrior was no longer with the WWF, and he has 90 days, I believe, on his contract or something. I was wondering if negotiations have begun to bring the Ultimate Warrior to the WCW at all.
Absolutely not, because until the Ultimate Warrior is officially unemployed and no longer working with the World Wrestling Federation, I'm sure there'll be nobody in the world wants to talk to him because it's illegal. And I don't know if the WCW, quite frankly, would have a big interest in him anyway. What do you think, Paul?
I really don't put a lot of thought into the Ultimate Warrior. If he wants to show up and he wants to say, I am no longer employed by anybody else, and I'm sure he'll be negotiated with, and if he is still under the employ of another organization, which he is as of this moment, then it's just, again, speculation.
Moot point.
What else, Tony?
That's it, Jim.
Okay, man. Thanks for calling us. Appreciate it, Tony, calling us from just south of Chicago. Back to another long-distance line. Bloomington, Indiana. Cliff, how you doing?
All right, how are you, Jim?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for calling us tonight.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that you are the best announcer in wrestling today.
Thank you, Cliff.
And I think the best team possible would be Jesse Ventura and yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. Jesse was in town today. I saw him today. He was doing the color for the Minnesota Vikings. And I am a season ticket holder with the Falcons.
So now I guess you want me to be fired, right? You just want to cost me my job, right?
No, Paulie.
Hold on. I asked you a question. You want to cost me my job? See, comments like that going to get me fired.
No,
Thanks a lot. You're a real big help.
I think you're an excellent manager.
Oh, manager. But you want to fire me as a co-host?
No, you've got the best personality to be a manager. That's what you should be doing.
All right, Cliff, we're inside 1 minute to news.
Okay, quickly, I want to say that Clash of Champions was a success, in my opinion. It showed some athletic quality which had been missing in the Bash.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I think that Jim Hurd, if he's in office when his contract expires in January, then somebody needs to fire Jack Petrick.
Well, that's a real unique...
Here's a real intelligent guy. Fire Paulie Dangerously as a commentator. Fire Jim Hurd. Fire Jack Petrick. Why don't we just fire you off the telephone lines?
Well, anyway...
I don't hear his answer either.
And somebody else may get fired. And I don't want to be that guy. I can tell you that. Cliff, thanks for calling us tonight from
don't
Bloomington.
Call back again.
And we appreciate your opinions, even though we don't agree with all of them. Fans, you're listening to Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Welcome back, everyone, to AM 750 WSB. This is Jim Ross, and this is Wrestling with Jim Ross. My special guest in the studio tonight, Dennis Brent, the editor of the WCW magazine, and my colleague from TBS Television, and the host of the Danger Zone, Paul E. Dangerously. We have a winner in our trivia contest. Our question this week was, at last Thursday night's Clash of Champions event, who were the final 4 men left in the Battle Royal? And Jeff Center of Dunwoody had the correct answer. And Jeff, I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the Clash. And we will be sending you a box of the Stomp collection from Impel Marketing. The correct answer was Elegante, Oz, One Man Gang, and Dustin Rhodes. So thanks for playing trivia tonight with us, Jeff, and I'll be mailing you your cards very soon. You know, guys, we've got an outstanding weekend of television coming up. This is a big weekend for TV wrestling viewers because the Clash of Champions are going to be repeated Thursday night. We mentioned that, 10:35 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Saturday morning, the Power Hour. Dennis, we're getting a lot of positive feedback on Missy Does the Mail on the Power Hour Saturday morning.
The mail is really flowing in for her. I think she gets a little more than Paul right now.
Okay, let's not start that. It's trying to throw gasoline on the proverbial fire.
No, I'm not. Paul is getting a tremendous amount of mail. And
then Paul, on Saturday night on WCW, interesting situation here. We produced a 1-hour program for Saturday night. The Braves game was picked up by CBS. Moved to the afternoon. Now we're going to do another hour. So this Saturday, even though your TV listings may not list it, we got a 2-hour program and a match that we added there, Cactus Jack versus the Z-Man. It's going to be a heck of a added attraction for Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, most certainly is. And here you see a situation where you have a guy that's like a kamikaze. He'll hurt himself to hurt you against the Z-Man. And let's be kind of honest with each other. You know, the Z-Man doesn't want to bust up that pretty face. So I think Cactus Jack is going to go through the Z-Man on Saturday night.
And then next Sunday, back on TBS, Sunday night, on the main event, matchup I'm looking forward to, Arn Anderson against Ron Simmons. Should be an outstanding one-on-one matchup. Right. And Abdul the Butcher will make another appearance on the main event as well. So it should be a good weekend for TV. And remember, the Clash is being repeated this Thursday night. Every line is full. All 9 lines are full. But we do want to let you know our numbers because if you keep trying, we hope that you can get on AM 750 WSB. Here, our number is 872-0750, Our long-distance number, 1-800-WSB-TALK. We're going to try to get some phone calls going. Now we're going to roll. Hi, Byron.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for holding.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about some of your old Mid-South days.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, first, Saul over Humperdinck used to manage Lord Humongous. Was Humongous Sid Vicious?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't, okay. My second question is, what happened to the Masked Nightmare who defeated Terry Taylor for a North American title back in 1985?
Paul, do you know who that was? You know anything about that?
Yeah, and the man wore a mask to protect his identity. The mask was never pulled off him, so I know who was underneath it, but it's really not for me to say because nobody ever had the gumption or the manhood to pull the mask off of him.
Okay, so anyway. What else, Byron?
Okay, I want to ask Paul a question.
He's right here.
Okay, whatever happened to Tombstone, the wrestler you used to manage in Florida?
Tombstone, the wrestler that I used to manage in Florida, is a champion powerlifter and made so much money because I invested his money in Keogh accounts and IRAs and CDs and right kind of stock options that he could retire after wrestling for 1 year, and he's in retirement and he's a professional powerlifter now. And also he does dwarf tossing in December in Mexico.
Right.
He does.
But the Mid-South were good old days. Have you got some of those tapes?
Sure do.
Do you? That was a pretty unique, hard-hitting style of wrestling. I wish that the WCW would evaluate their philosophy and lean a little bit more toward the hard-hitting style of the Mid-South. Maybe not going that far because it got pretty gruesome sometimes, and that wasn't really suited for all members of the family. But there should be a happy medium in there somewhere to where it's more athletic than it is circus-like. But that's only my opinion. But anyway, what else, Byron? Anything else tonight?
Okay, does Paul get any credit for managing the Midnight Express, who won the AWA World Tag Team titles?
Well, I was their manager at the time, and they used my telephone to defeat Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee on ESPN, so I should assume I should get all the credit, don't you?
Thanks, Byron, for calling tonight. Let's go now to Mike. Hi, Mike.
Good evening. I have a question, a quick comment, and a criticism. First question is, if a promotion really doesn't know who a masked wrestler is, how do they get paid? And
I can answer that right away. They get paid through an attorney. Sometimes you have a manager or an attorney that handles all your affairs, and you can even have your mail sent to this person. All you need is a wrestler's license, and you can obtain that through the State Athletic Commission. That does not have to report to the wrestling organization, and therefore, if you're paid through your attorney or through a corporation that you structure around yourself, you don't have to have the check made out in your name as long as you pay your taxes.
So they don't, for insurance purposes or otherwise, they don't have to know who the person is.
Most of the wrestlers are independent contractors.
But if a person who is not an actual wrestler tries to come in and take advantage of the rules...
All you have to do is... Now, you see, you have to obtain a license through a state athletic commission. If you're certified by a board that's hired by the state that says you can wrestle, then you come to promotion and you say, hey, I'm a certified wrestler, I'd like a job.
Well, what else, Mike?
Okay, my major criticism is that when there is something important that refers to something that's going on currently in the promotion, I find it offensive to have to call up a pay line to find out that information, and I just wanted to mention that.
Give me an illustration of that, Mike.
Well, like when Missy says she has narrowed down to 3 people who are this or that, and the only way that you can find out who those 3 people are is to call the line and pay money, and it deals directly with what affects what's going on.
Did you call?
No, I didn't.
Okay. If you had, I was going to ask you who should guess, but anyway, a good point, Mike. Thanks for calling tonight on AM 750 WSB. Very, I think in tune perspective from that gentleman in Marietta. Hi, Charles.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, sir.
I saw a match tonight on television on TBS between Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dirty Dick Slater and Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson. I'd like to see that match again. Another matchup with a steel cage around the ring and no referee. Is there any possibility in that being done?
Well, I don't know. That's something we can bring up. What do you guys think about that?
Would be wild.
I'd love to see it. Personally, the Hardliners and the Enforcers are 2 of my favorite tag teams, with the exception of the fact that the Enforcers are the favorite in the book of Paulie Dangerously, and as long as they hold the World Tag Team titles, I don't care if you put them in a cage, wrap them around the hands by chains, they're the best tag team in the world.
That's a good idea, Charles. We appreciate you calling us tonight from Jonesboro. Now let's go to Lee. Hi, Lee.
Hey, Jim, I'm enjoying your program tonight, and I agree with you about the Mid-South action. I think the current promotion would do very well to review some of those tapes.
Well, yeah, it was a unique style, I'll tell you that, and it may not be for everybody, but it was certainly exciting.
It certainly was. My question tonight has to do with one of my favorite wrestlers when I was growing up, This goes back to the late 50s and early 60s. There was a tag team by the name of Dr. Jerry and Eddie Graham.
Right.
And I know that Eddie went on down to Tampa as a wrestler, and then I think he eventually was a promoter down there, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
I don't know what happened to Jerry, and I've been curious.
Paulie knows that, Lee, and he's going to give you the answer.
Great, thank you.
The infamous Dr. Jerry Graham lives in Bakersfield, California today and impersonates a beached whale because he lays on the beach all day long.
Can I ask one more question, Paul?
Sure.
I also understood that their former manager, Bobby Davis, who also managed Buddy Rogers, lives in Bakersfield and is associated with the Wendy's restaurant chain. Is that true?
That is true. He was one of the original investors in that chain. He's not the founder, and he's not the father of Wendy's, as people have printed. Bobby Davis was one of the original investors, which is why he got out of wrestling. He's retired. He's living on a beach in Bakersfield. Lives right down the block from Dr. Jerry Graham. Has a big mansion. I understand that he wanted to manage again a couple of years ago, but decided not to do it.
See. So, but Jerry's in good health then?
Oh, very good health. I heard he dropped about 100 pounds. He's down to about 280, and I heard he's in phenomenal shape.
Great. Thanks a million. I sure appreciate it, guys.
All right, Lee. Thanks for calling tonight on the program. We always appreciate Lee calling us. You know, guys, in the Omni, interesting card coming up in the Omni on Saturday, October the 12th. That's to say, they're moving the big date in the Omni to Saturday night, October the 12th. We've had a lot of people right here on this program have said, you know, we can't go all the time on Sundays. We've got to get our kids to school. It's a very good point. So WCW is going to have a big event on a Saturday night, October the 12th. Luger and Hughes versus Simmons and Wyndham with Dusty Rhodes as the referee. Sting and Rick Steiner take on Cactus Jack and Abdul the Butcher in a cage match.
Wow.
The Freebirds challenge the Enforcers for the World Tag Title. And those are just some of the matchups. And I don't know, Dennis.
I can't imagine Cactus Jack and Abdullah together against Sting and Rick Steiner in a cage. I mean, that's unbelievable. The cage itself is going to be used as a weapon, but those guys.
What do you think about that card, Paul?
Frankly, I'm looking forward to seeing Luger and Hughes against Simmons and Wyndham because that is the most out-of-control war I have seen in over a year in World Championship Wrestling. And to me, Dusty Rhodes being a referee is kind of like Pee Wee Herman coming out on MTV Thursday night, you know? It's like, here are all these people making all these remarks about Dusty Rhodes, and now he wants to show his face in public. Since he was in Ron Simmons' entourage at the Clash, I don't understand how Dusty Rhodes can be an impartial referee in that tag team match.
I think you made a very good point. Make a very good point. Something we should probably discuss a little bit here tonight. Hi, Tim. Tim, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're on the radio.
Okay, I'm having a question. Does anybody have any idea about the boxes being sent to the ring?
You mean
out there?
Who's doing it?
Yeah.
Well, earlier tonight...
Call Missy's hotline and narrow down to 3.
No, earlier tonight, someone guessed it was Lex Luger. I think, you know, we automatically assume it's a wrestler, and it may not be a wrestler.
You know, yesterday on your show, Missy mentioned several times that it could be a woman, and today she mentioned it could be a woman. I just wonder if the York Foundation has something to do with it.
Well, it's a possibility.
But I tell you why I don't think it's Lex Luger, and I'll be real honest with you. I would love to say that it is Lex Luger, but I don't think it is for one reason. Luger's not hiding whom he hates. I mean, he's already come after Ron Simmons because Simmons had a title match lined up, and then Barry Windham aligned himself with Ron Simmons, and Luger made it no secret. He, Race, and Hughes were going after Barry Windham just as hard as they were going after Ron Simmons. So if Luger has a grudge against you, he's going to let it be known.
It's hard to say, Tim, but we're going to keep our eye on the situation. We thank you for calling us tonight here on AM 750 WSB. We're going back to our long-distance lines, back to one of my favorite parts of the country in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hi, Terry.
Yes, Jim, I used to watch when you first had the Mid-South area. I'm just curious, whatever happened to Joe and Bill Watts and Risa Bowden and Boyd Pierce?
Well, let's see. Joe Watts, I know, is editing, is working in a television production out of the wrestling business in New York City, if I'm not mistaken.
God's country.
Oh yeah, Paul calls it God's country because no one else will have it. Cowboy Bill Watts is living in Tulsa, and he is one of the major distributors of Omnitrition in the United States. It's a opportunity for people to get into business for themselves, and they got some great products, a weight loss product and an energy product. So Bill's marketing that product now in Tulsa. Boyd Pierce is in retirement. He lives in Burleson, Texas, and he and his wife travel around the world literally at least once or twice a year.
Boyd had some great suits, didn't he?
Yeah, didn't he? and Risa Bowden. Risa married a lady in the latter years of working there at Channel 3 in Shreveport, and I'm sure, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming that Risa's in retirement.
Okay, one other question. For the match for pay-per-view with Ron Simmons and Lex Luger, 2 out of 3 falls.
Right.
Now, in the rule book, if Lex Luger should lose a first fall by disqualification or countout, will it automatically let Simmons not be able to get the title if he should win a second fall?
No, are you saying if Luger lost the first fall by himself getting disqualified,
yes,
and then Simmons and either the second or third fall pinned him?
Yes.
Simmons would get the title the way I read the rule.
Right.
In other words, it doesn't matter how you lose the first fall; it's just no matter how you lose the second fall.
I think that you have the deciding fall in any match must be won by a pinfall or submission, unless something specially has been specified, like a count out counts the same or a disqualification. But under normal circumstances, you got to win it by a pinfall or submission.
And in the first fall, it would be a point for Simmons.
Right. Anything else, Terry?
None. I said I wish y'all would come back to Baton Rouge because I miss y'all coming down.
We miss coming down there. Terry, thanks for listening tonight. Fans, this is Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB.
This is Stinger here for Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Give him a call and talk to him right now on 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK.
Thanks very much, Sting.
Now.
Oh, sorry. Could never interrupt the Stinger.
Maybe it's you behind the boxes.
Maybe I'm sitting in the gift boxes.
I mean, if you were so rude as to interrupt the guy.
I can't afford to pay the freight on shipping Abdullah there. Can you imagine the weigh bill on that baby? Fans, I want to remind you of one of our sponsors. It's a Stomp Collection from Impel Marketing, the official trading card of World Championship Wrestling. Every card gives you key information on the wrestlers, like titles they've held, their hometowns, favorite holes, toughest opponents, and much, much more. Now, there are 162 cards in all to collect in the inaugural set. They're available right now wherever trading cards are sold. Some of the outlets include arenas where you see WCW wrestling, 7-Eleven stores throughout the Southeast, many of the Eckerd Drugs, and Quickie Foods in your area as well. Don't be left out. Get involved in the ground floor. Buy the original set of the Stomp Collection from Impel Marketing. They're the official trading card of World Championship Wrestling. Okay. Wow. Man, a lot of breath there. Feel pretty good, though. You guys feel good tonight?
I don't.
Nice. I knew you wouldn't feel good, Paul.
The Braves beat New York today.
Yeah.
Well, somebody has to lose to those guys.
Half a game behind, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's still a long way to go. Let me tell you something. Tommy Lasorda has a game plan in mind.
Tommy Lasorda. Yeah, he is. I admire Tommy. You know, Tommy's lost a lot of weight. I'm going to try to lose some weight. I'm on a little bitty diet, not much. And last week we got a call from a lady. You remember that? I told you about the lady that called last week?
Uh-huh.
That thought you were gaining weight.
I am gaining weight.
Are you really?
Yeah, well, if you got a pay raise like I did, you'd be eating well, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well,
you're not on steroids, are you?
No, I'm not on steroids.
All right, never mind.
I tell you, give me that cup. I'll take the test right now.
I don't want to start any rumors.
That cup.
No, that's not.
Yeah, give me that. I'll take this test right now.
We're going to look back to the long-distance lines. Hi, Betty.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing tonight? Betty's calling us from Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm up here in Tazewell. And I wanted to ask you 3 questions, Jim. I think you're the best announcer in the world, and I want to say hi to Paulie.
Well, I thank you, and Paulie says, Paul?
Hold on, honey. Paul, okay, here you go.
Paul, put that cup up.
I'm ready.
Well, first I'd like to ask you this, Jim. When will Ric Flair make his debut in the WWF?
Who cares?
I like him. I think he's the best.
Well, let's see.
Well, you know, a lot of people thought Jimmy Connors was the best, and it proved out that he was over the hill. And if you want to see people like that, go down to the baseball field, watch some old-timers game. People holding on to their past glory with any kind of symbol of their former greatness, like a belt or like a hat or like a World Series ring.
Okay, after Paul's editorial comments about Ric Flair's age, we still haven't answered your question, Betty. I'm not sure when he will be debuting in the WWF, and I think they only finalized some sort of agreement like a day or 2 ago. So I really couldn't tell you, but, you know, it would be soon, I would guess. I don't know. Dennis, do you have any idea?
No, I don't.
Sorry, Betty. What else is on your mind?
Do you think Bobby the Brain Heenan will make him a good manager and advisor?
I don't think Ric Flair needs a manager or an advisor, but Bobby the Brain, I'm sure, could be an adequate person at ringside if he chose to do it.
I'm sure he'd be real good. Bobby the Brain Heenan's one of the greatest managers in history. As a matter of fact, I understand that he's right below me.
Betty, thanks for calling us tonight from the volunteer state of Tennessee. Hi, Brandy.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Fine.
You're on with Dennis Brent, Paulie Dangerously, and Jim Ross. What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
I'd like to know if Lex Luger's sending the packages to Sting, and why? If it's the York Foundation, why are they sending it?
All right, but we have two hypothetical situations, guys, because nobody knows for sure who's doing this. I'll look at it this way, Brandy. I've got two experts here. Dennis, if it is Lex Luger, why would he be sending it? Use that as a hypothetical situation.
Well, those are both guesses. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, hypothetical. So why would Luger do it?
I would guess to throw Sting off his trail, but like Paul said, and I hate to agree with Paul, if he had a problem with Sting, he would probably make that known like he has the other guys.
Paul, if it's the York Foundation, the motive, what would be the motive?
The motive would be to eliminate Sting, and therefore that's just one of the top 10. WCW top 10 is very, very important. If you eliminate a top 10 contender, your guys move up.
Thanks, Brandy, for calling us tonight on AM 750 WSB. Hi, Al. Thanks for holding.
How you doing?
Good.
I've got a couple of questions for you.
Okay, sir.
Number one.
You got to quit smoking is what you got to do.
Yeah, you're right there. Number one, in a tag team event, how come you don't have a referee inside the ring and one outside the ring?
If you've listened to my commentary over the years, Al, you know I'm a long-time advocate of that. I would assume it's an economic decision, but I don't know that to be for sure. I agree with you, though.
Okay. Now, number two, Paul, you probably ain't going to like this, but to me...
We don't care, Al.
Well, I don't either. But to me, a wrestler that has a manager is nothing but a leech.
I agree. That's why I retired as a manager, to do something constructive with my life. I saw the light. You see, Jim Ross showed me the light, and I became an announcer. I hated being a manager. I was such a leech. I'm ashamed of myself, of my past.
Thanks for calling tonight, Al, on Wrestling with Jim Ross.
And quit smoking.
Down there in Forest Park. John in Doraville, what's up?
Nothing much. I got a couple of things.
All right.
One, I've heard a rumor that the Hardliners have left WCW.
I think that the Hardliners' today's appearance on television may be one of their last in this organization for a while. What's the next question?
Could you elaborate on why Nikita Koloff and the Hardliners left?
Well, I think the schedule in September, they're going to one event a night for September and October, and it's a numbers game, and they got caught in it's like a player leaving a team on waivers. I mean, there was not a need for their particular skills at this time. And I understand Nikita Koloff's situation was a decision that he made. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about that? Was it about a contract or something?
Nikita Koloff agreed to come in for a certain amount of time. He had hoped by that time to have attained the United States Heavyweight Championship or the world title, which would give him more leverage for more money. His contract has expired, I believe, at the end of August. He didn't have a title. He didn't have enough leverage to ask for the figure that he wanted.
As a matter of fact, his contract expired on August 23rd.
There you go.
That's why he didn't wrestle in the tournament. So thanks, John.
He made a business decision.
Thanks, John. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. I'd like to ask you, whatever happened to Lance Russell?
Lance Russell is working with the Wrestling Hotline right now, and he is the administrator of that and produces many of the features that the fans hear on the Wrestling Hotline. And Union City, Georgia. Kenneth, how are you?
All right, fine.
What is your comment?
I looked in Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine, and I saw that Elegante wouldn't mind. I looked at it, and it saw Elegante said he wouldn't mind taking on Andre the Giant.
Uh-huh.
And if they do fight, who do you think will win?
Well, unfortunately for Andre, his days of being a great athlete are over because of injuries and illness, and Elegante, I think, would beat him quite easily.
Handily.
Right. Yeah, and that's unfortunate because the big Andre is just not the athlete that he used to be. I want to try to get everybody on here tonight. The phones have been it's been crazy all night. Hi, Eric.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Hi, I was just calling to tell Paul that, Paul, you're the greatest announcer I've ever heard.
I agree.
And
I think you're very intelligent, sir. Thank you for calling AM 750 WSB.
I was also wondering, would you consider managing the York Foundation?
Managing the York Foundation? If she paid me enough money, I'll manage you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even without a coupon. Now, we're going back to telephones. Brandy on AM 750 WSB, how are you? Well, Brandy?
Hello?
Brandy, this is, you got the program here, and we're just about out of time. I wanted to get your question real quick.
This is not Brandy.
Well, then
we ain't going to talk to you.
We're not going to talk to you. It's been I knew it was going to end like this, chaotic.
It always does.
We're going to have a great weekend of television. Don't forget now, the Clash is going to be repeated Thursday night. Clash is going to be repeated Thursday night. It's going to be a big broadcast this weekend, a big weekend. I want to thank Dennis for coming. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Jim.
And Paul, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fans, it's always great to have you with us as well. I'm sorry we couldn't get everybody on. Our lines were full all night long, and that's a great tribute to you listening to this great radio station. For all of us here at AM 750 WSB and Dennis Brent, Paulie Danishly, and our producer John Glavin, I'm Jim Ross saying so long, everybody, until next Sunday night.
Man, was Paul Heyman ever not talented? I mean, I could listen to him read the freaking phone book. He was talented in 91, and he's somehow even better now in 2024. And maybe so is our next guest. Of course, these days he's working behind the scenes at a high level for WWE. I'm talking about Michael P.S. Hayes. He joined JR on his radio show on November 29th, 1992. So just a few days after Thanksgiving, we would see Michael P.S. Hayes join JR to co-host the show. He's here to promote Slam Jam Volume 1. Yes, that's the WCW album. You know the one. We're also going to have Michael P.S. Hayes answering some listener calls, and we're going to be discussing the news and notes, everything that was happening in WCW at the time. They'll be talking about the Starrcade 92 card. They'll be talking about how Too Cold Scorpio is making a splash in WCW. They're going to have the reactions to Freddie Miller passing away. Once upon a time, Freddie Miller was like one of the iconic voices of professional wrestling. Don't miss it. Be there. He's a throwback name and somebody that I know for sure that Tony Schiavone and JR hold in high regard. So it'll be nice to hear JR sort of talk about Freddie, and in more wink, wink business, Dustin Rhodes turning on Barry Windham. So what's great about listening to these old tapes is you get sort of a mixture of what's really going on and maybe a little kayfabe, if you will. I like that. I think it adds a lot to it. And honestly, I kind of miss it. So I think you'll enjoy this. It's a very special episode from the archives. Shout out to Dennis Brent for helping us get these and bring them to you. If you like what you hear here, there's a lot more available to you over at adfreeshows.com. So if you haven't checked that out, go out of your way to check that out. But before we play this fantastic tape from November 29th, 1992, I want to remind you that we have a brand new affiliate partnership with Fanatics. They have the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. And this is an excellent way to support Grilling JR, Jim Ross, and myself. If you haven't already, please go check out shopsportsmerch.com. They've got something for everybody. You can shop for your favorite jerseys, caps, shirts, jackets, hoodies, and more, and support your favorite team, your favorite players, your favorite superstars. And the link is so easy. It's shopsportsmerch.com. Now, to be clear, it's the same great Fanatics gear you've always come to expect from Fanatics, but this actually helps us out and it doesn't cost you a thing. So there's no extra additional cost, but if you're going to load up on some gear and time for the Super Bowl or getting ready for basketball season to get cranked up, whatever it is, shopsportsmerch.com. And I think they might even have some wrestling stuff over there. It really helps the show. So check it out. Or if you're watching along with us on the YouTube, just hit that QR code that's up on the screen now, or check out the description for this episode, and we will have the link below. Without further ado, let's roll that beautiful bean footage as we get in our Wayback Machines to 1992. Jim Ross and Michael Hayes.
Now, it's Wrestling with Jim Ross on News Talk Radio AM 750 WSB. You can talk with America's leading wrestling broadcaster and his guests. Call 872-0750. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thanks very much, and hello again, everyone, and welcome to the program. Good to have you with us tonight here from Atlanta. We'll be taking your phone calls in just a few moments, 872-0750 here in the Atlanta area. Our toll-free number nationwide is 1-800-WSB-TALK. Our producer, Daryl Harris, already on the telephone, so if you want to be a part of the program, we hope that you will call. A lot of things to talk about tonight, and I want to welcome my guest here in the studio, my partner on the main event on Sundays, Freebird Michael Hayes. And Mike, thanks for coming out in this 39-degree weather and being with us.
Well, thank you, Jim. I'm really glad to be here, and I know I might have been getting on your nerves a little bit on the show tonight, specifically because we differ in opinions of how Dustin Rhodes turned on Barry Windham.
Right. Well, that's certainly right. I look at one side of the issue, and you certainly addressed very succinctly, I might add, the other side of the issue. We'll talk about that in the program. We'll be interested to hear what the fans have to say about that as well. Also, we'll be talking about Starrcade 92 coming to the Omni here in Atlanta on Monday, December the 28th. Too Cold Scorpio, as turned some people's heads in WCW, and the fans, I think, have really been impressed with what they've seen of this athlete. And on a sad note, our old friend Freddie Miller passed away this past week, and I think Freddie, I'm not real sure of the exact situation, but I do know that Freddie passed away. I believe it was Thursday. I believe it was of heart failure, but I'm not real sure about that. But our condolences certainly to Freddie's family, and he was a big part of what we all remember as some of the glory years of wrestling on TBS, with his signature "Be There" at the end of all of his spots when he ran down the cards nationwide. That was Freddie's voice, and we saw Freddie back at the Clash on September the 2nd, and he looked to be in great spirits, always had a smile on his face. And
yeah, he did. You just shocked me.
So you weren't aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of it.
So Freddie Miller passed away, and we, again, wish our sincere condolences to his family. Now, also coming up, we'll be talking about, I'm sure, the world title matchup that's been signed for Starrcade, Ron Simmons and Ravishing Rick Rude. We know that Sting and Big Van Vader will meet at Starrcade in the King of Cable matchup. I know this card is really building interest, because this morning I got to the Georgia Dome about 8:30, a little before 9 o'clock. We were on the air here at 10:35 with the tailgate show, and I went down the locker room, and I always go down and talk to Bill Fralick and Mike Ken and Mike Gann, and talk to Jerry Ray, the trainer, to see any late-minute injury reports and so forth.
Tim Green seems to be a big buddy of yours.
Tim Green's a nice guy. Yeah, he's a super guy, too. Anyway, all these guys are talking about wrestling, WCW, and they're talking about Starrcade, because the Falcons play the Rams on the 27th. So then we'll broadcast that game on the 27th, fly back on the charter, get back probably 3, and then that would be 3 o'clock, early Monday morning. And then Starrcade is that night in the Omni. So those guys are saying, can you get me some tickets? So I said, well, I'll see what I can do. Can you get me some more Dallas Cowboy tickets on Monday night? And we'll talk about it. So, well, I know a lot of guys are interested in it. It's going to be a big night here in Atlanta. It's going to be a great night.
Big weekend.
Yeah. It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be talking about Starrcade. And remember, to be a part of it live in the building, there's nothing. Hey, we really, I know I enjoy, I watched the WWS pay-per-view this past Wednesday. I enjoy watching the pay-per-view, but there's really nothing like being at the event live. It's like, we try to do a good job with the Falcon broadcast, but there's really nothing like being there and seeing the game.
No, and I see it from both perspectives, because I enjoy, too. I like to watch other sporting events. Sometimes I'll watch the WWF, not too much, okay? But from, performing music, from competing in the ring, just a live crowd as a athlete, even as an artist.
Well, you touched on something there. You're multifaceted. We know that you've written a lot of music, we know that a lot of people have got those... some of your albums. I've got one in my head. You gave me a long time ago, as a matter of fact. But
you still owe me $9.95.
Probably do. Well, this I'll never beat you out of it. I'll always owe you.
I'll never be broke.
My grandpa used to say. The new WCW album, the fans have seen a little bit of, Slam Jam 1. Tell us about that. And I think that I know there's going to be some new music for WCW stars, but I know the fans are going to want to know how to get this album, because it'd be a great Christmas present.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. And I want to say right off the bat that this is not a gimmick or a novelty record. This is real rock and roll, and it's new entrance songs for 11 of the top stars in WCW, including Sting, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, Johnny B. Bad, Ron Simmons, Cactus Jack, some of the names. Of course, there's a song, Freebird Forever, which is an anthology, if you will, about the whole story of the fabulous Freebirds. There's a bunch of it, but they're new music with lyrics that tell the guys' stories. And it is available, okay? If you wanted to call right now tonight at area code 404-885-7174, and that's the WCW merchandise, and they'll tell you exactly what to do. If you want this for Christmas.
What was it, 404 what?
885-7174.
Okay, we'll be giving that number again. So if you missed it, get your pencil and paper handy, boys and girls, and we'll give that number again. I think they'll take your name. There's a recording there or something. Is there somebody there? Is there a human being there, or is it a machine? Is it automated?
I think it's automated.
But they call you back?
Yes, all the information.
Yeah, I think they get right back to you. So if you call the number, don't hang up, because some have done that. Don't hang up if you call 404-885-7174. Don't hang up. Leave your number or leave your message, your address, whatever it asks for, and then they'll respond to you accordingly. I've heard some of the cuts of this. We played a little bit of some of it at the Clash.
And it got, the first response was just phenomenal.
Well, I'll tell you who got the benefit of this deal was the fans that were in Macon.
Yes,
because during the commercial breaks, while the fans at home were watching the commercials or flipping around the remote control, the folks that sitting during the commercial break in the arena were listening to the new music.
Well, I just feel fortunate that to be a part of it. Now, some people might say, well, how could you take part? Because some of these guys, obviously, I don't like a lot of people.
Right.
But,
And the feeling's mutual.
The feeling is mutual, okay? But, when I go in the ring, I go to win. And when I was hired by TBS to write some entrance songs about guys, I go in there to win, too. And I was lucky enough to collaborate with great people. The first guy that comes to mind is Darwin Knort, a fabulous, fabulous writer, performer, and singer. And, of course, it was produced in Dallas, Texas by Jimmy Pop. And then surround yourself with great musical talent.
I think people are going to be really surprised at the quality of the music because, and the folks that were, somebody may be out there tonight listening about was in Macon in the building, and
sure.
You can let us know your feelings on it. But if you want to buy the album, you can call at 404-885-7174. Great stocking stuffer gift for Christmas. I know a lot of adults are out there that know their kids are big wrestling fans. Might be a fun thing to get for the kids, and I think you're really going to enjoy the music, and we'll talk to Mike more about that. As a matter of fact, in upcoming weeks, we want to play some cuts here on the program.
Yes.
I know the WSB is not a heavy music station. That's that's other folks here in town, but I think we can probably get by on the wrestling program with playing a wrestling song from the Slam Jam 1 album.
Well, it's a news station, and this is going to be the hottest news in wrestling.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to do that in upcoming weeks, and we'll keep you apprised of that. Maybe even as early as next week, we'll try. Also, we're going to be talking a little bit later about the collectible sale coming up this Saturday at the Omni. It's going to be a fun thing. That's free admission and a chance to get some autographs and save on some big bargains. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So a lot of things are going on in WCW as usual. Things are pretty darned exciting. And we're going to go to the telephones now and try to get a quick call in here. We're going to talk to Robert in Atlanta. Robert, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
Hello. I heard that Sting jumped off the top of the Thunder Cage in the Army.
Is that what you heard? Mm-hmm. Is that right, Mike?
Flying body press on Cactus Jack.
Yeah. It was one of those moves that you make, you hit it, and you win. Yeah. You miss it, and it's all over. So, Robert, we appreciate your call. Let's talk to Shane in Austell. Hi, Shane.
How's it going, Ross?
Good.
I want to know what happened to Terry Gordy.
Terry Gordy got suspended by WCW officials for failing to appear in Philadelphia to compete in Halloween Havoc.
Oh, really? And what about Scott Steiner? Where's he at?
I don't really know. Scott Steiner and the Steiner brothers are having some contractual
impasses.
Yeah, with WCW officials, and I really don't know the nature of their negotiations. They'd be private as much as that's concerned, but I think that's the situation right now.
I was just wondering, say I got attacked and beat up, killed by Michael Hayes at a wrestling event. Could I do anything, or is it just my fault for messing with him?
If you attacked Michael Hayes at a wrestling event and got beat up,
you're an idiot.
Well, that wouldn't be a very good move, I don't think, Shane. I think I don't know what you'd benefit by that, and maybe you should get more sleep. You're a little edgy tonight. And let's talk to Frank in Norcross. Hi, Frank.
Yes.
How you doing?
All right.
Good. What can we help you with tonight?
Well, someone already asked about Scott Steiner.
Yeah, Scott, like I said, the Steiner brothers are involved in a contractual situation. Scott's recently, he and his brother wrestled over in Japan, I think last week or week before last, and I believe they lost the IWGP tag titles, if I'm not mistaken, and I heard some sketchy information on that. So I really don't know their status in WCW, and when lawyers and agents get involved in negotiating for athletes, it really makes it tough. And you can ask anybody in football, and they'll say the same thing. It's really changed the game.
Well, I cheer for them because I'm from Michigan.
Oh, they're great athletes, and we wish them well whatever they do. And we're going to be back in just a few moments with Michael Hayes and your phone calls All 9 lines are busy right now at 872-0750. Our long-distance number, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Keep trying. We'll try to get to as many calls as we can. This portion of Wrestling with Jim Ross is brought to you by the WCW Magazine, the January edition with Brian Pillman on newsstands now. This is AM 750 WSB.
This is Missy Hyatt, the most fabulous babe in wrestling, and you're listening to Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Why don't you give him a call at 872-0750, or if you're outside the Atlanta area, call him at 1-800-WSB-TALK.
And welcome back, everybody, to the program. Michael Hayes is with us tonight, and you see Missy's hair on TV the other day?
No, but I did see her right before she got her finger caught in the light socket.
Man, what a deal.
No, that's...
man, somebody's playing a terrible joke on her. I don't know. Every time Madonna changes her hairstyle, so does Missy. Our meteorologist, ladies and gentlemen, the world-famous Kirk Headlock Mellish, has specifically prepared this weather forecast for you, wrestling listeners, that tonight will be clear and cold. It's that simple. Low 30. That's cold down here. And Monday, sound effects by Michael Hayes. Monday, mostly sunny and warmer tomorrow, the high of 55, so that's not going to be too bad. Right now, it's 39 degrees on top of Peachtree. I feel pretty good sitting in Larry Munson's chair. I'll never be able to fill his shoes, but boy, can I fill his chair. Pretty good, huh?
I ain't going to touch it.
Well, I got to get off this coffee and get on the Sanka. I'm too nervous tonight.
Is that what it is?
Big win for the Falcons. I was excited about that. Anyway, it was a big day. We're going to get back to telephones momentarily. All of our lines are busy. 872-0750, 1-800.
What do you expect?
It's because Michael's here, of course. I told him I'd say that, and it keeps him having to pay him anything for being here. The upcoming events we want to remind you of tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, center stage, right here in Atlanta, just a stone's throw from where we sit at this point. On West Peachtree at center stage, the national TV taping starts at 7 o'clock. On Tuesday night, that's this Tuesday night up in Gainesville at the Georgia Mountain Center. Always a big crowd in Gainesville. Some great matches have been signed for that facility. The tickets will be available up there in Gainesville on Monday and Tuesday at the Georgia Mountain Center box office. And then this Thursday, WCW will be in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Harriman, Tennessee. On Friday night in Charleston, South Carolina, and in Jonesville, Virginia. That's on Friday night. And then this Saturday in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Loudon, Tennessee. I would much prefer to be in Loudon, Tennessee than in St. Paul on Saturday night in December. No offense to the nice folks that live in Minnesota, but it's cold there as well. And then 1 week from today in Hammond, Indiana. And as we mentioned earlier, Starrcade in the Omni, Starrcade 92, featuring Battle Bowl, Monday, December 28th. The tickets for that event are on sale as we speak at all area Ticketmaster outlets. And I'll have some important phone numbers for you next week to give you some information on information and charging by phone and things of that nature. And Michael was talking to me during the break that in the current edition of WCW Magazine, there is an order form for the album.
The whole back page.
The whole back page.
Is self-explanatory. But, you brought something up, and I've said this on the show.
I brought something up?
Yeah, you brought something up.
Golly.
It was just in your eyes. Sting now, okay, he's going to face Van Vader, Starrcade, King of Cable.
Right,
okay. But he's also going to go out, and because he's so glory happy for the little Stingers, he's got to try to be the second champion in Battle Bowl.
Well,
big mistake. I mean, Van Vader?
Well, the deal was when the Battle Bowl situation was started, I don't want to make him sound like John Wayne or somebody, but the deal is he's the defending champion, and the defending champion is expected to defend his Battle Bowl title.
Expected, schmecked.
Well, he didn't have to do it.
No, he didn't have to do it. Exactly right. He does all this stuff for the fans, and I'm telling you, I'm not hard on the fans. If there wasn't wrestling fans, there wouldn't be wrestling.
Right.
But you got to, when it's all over with, these people out here, they don't care about me, him, anybody. When it's over with, out of sight, out of mind, okay? And he's wasting his efforts on people that don't appreciate it.
I better get you a little bit of Sanka while we're talking about it. Let's talk to David in Austell. David, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes tonight.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
How about you, Mike?
Great.
Jim, I want to say that Omni event on Thanksgiving
Yes, sir?
was probably the best of the year so far.
Oh, good.
It was real hard hitting.
Did you have good seats?
Yes, sir, I did. As a matter of fact, I won them on your show.
There you go. See there, perfect segue for David. He won them on this very program. Well, good. So the seats are okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. So there you go, fans. We mail our prizes. They're good tickets. These are not imaginary winners out there. David is from Austell, and Daryl says you're 16.
Yes, sir, I am.
Did you drive yourself to the Omni?
No, I went with a friend.
Okay. Well,
Can I say hi to my friend Robert?
Yeah, go ahead. Robert, you've been said hello to by David. What was your favorite match? Thunder Cage?
Yeah, and for the fans out there who want to know a little bit about it, Cactus Jack was slung into the side of the cage literally so hard that it broke the cage.
Man.
It bent the cage outward. Van Hammer had a busted nose and a busted lip. It was a great match.
He needs a busted nose and a busted lip.
What about Sting? Did he put his life on the line and come off the top of that cage?
Oh, I thought he was going to miss. But yeah, he did. I kind of wish he had missed.
You know what, though, and I bet David will back this up. When Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes finally got together, did the roof come off the place or what?
Yes, sir. The crowd went crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a great rivalry right there. Well, David, we're glad you had a good time, my friend. And we thank you for listening to our program, and I'm glad you got your tickets and you enjoyed them. And we'll be back with more phone calls here in just a moment. As we mentioned earlier, the WCW Bargains and Collectibles sale is going to be this Saturday. That's Saturday, December the 5th at the Omni Coliseum. It begins at 10 o'clock this Saturday morning and will be only 3 hours in duration. This magnificent sale, this great opportunity, is only 3 hours long, and it's only this Saturday at the Omni. We will invite you to stop by for a special autograph session. Sting and Ron Simmons will sign autographs from 10 a.m., beginning at 10 a.m., and then at 11:30, Cactus Jack and Ravishing Rick Rude will also be available for autograph signings. This is a real neat thing. Admission is free of charge, and you'll get a chance to register to win 4 tickets to Starrcade 92. And a chance to win a workout session with Johnny B. Bad. Great Christmas gift shopping opportunity for all you folks that have wrestling fans on your Christmas list. Sweatshirts as low as $5, T-shirts as low as $3, jackets as low as $15. They've got great videos as low as $5.
Isn't there also like some special memorabilia from certain wrestlers? I mean, stuff that's just not usually on sale at the stand.
That's what I understand. It's going to be a real special situation, and
like we're selling Buddy Roberts.
Something like that. And so that's going to be this Saturday at the Omni from 10 until 1. Stars will be there, great bargains, and its admission is free for all these great bargains. And we'll be back with more on AM 750 WSB.
Okay, we got to run a timeout right now, and I want to tell you guys about when I first started podcasting. You know, when I first really started to get serious about podcasting, Bruce Pritchard and I were trying to learn everything we could about podcasting, and they would say things like, don't go longer than an hour, don't do a bunch of ads, definitely don't do them at the start of your show, whatever you do, don't curse. As you know, we did all of that, and it worked out. We sort of broke the status quo. We sort of blazed our own trail. And that's why I really appreciate Harry's. Harry's has done that. They saw customers getting ripped off by questionable products in the shaving industry, and they decided to do something better. Instead of charging the same old ridiculous prices, Harry's found their own way to make beautifully designed razors for a fraction of the other big brands. Exceptional products, honest prices, that's Harry's. Real deal. I was in my office today. John Taylor, a fellow I work with in the mortgage biz, was there, and he happens to be a bald gentleman. And I had just gotten a haircut, and somehow we were talking about razors, and he mentioned that he was a Harry's man. And it's easy to see why. I mean, this thing looks cool in your bathroom, and it has a weighted handle, so it feels cool in your hand too. Not only that, but it's going to be a regular part of your shaving routine. My buddy John says he shaves his head in the shower every single day, and guess what? Harry's to the rescue. He doesn't just shave his head, he shaves his face, and, well, he may shave other things. We're not that close to friends. I don't freaking know. But let me just say this. These are German engineered blades made in their own factory, so these are going to stay sharper longer. And they've even got customizable delivery options for scheduled refills as low as $2. That's like half of what you might pay for the other big brands. You'll get a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3. You hear me? $3 at harrys.com/JR. I should also mention that they've got a lot of other products that you might be interested at Harry's. How about some richly lathering, skin-softening body washes in scents like redwood, wildlands, and snow? They've even got extra strength, high quality, amazing smelling deodorant, and it's just $5. They've also got all your hair and other grooming products, everything you need to help define your own unique look and needs. They have the highest customer satisfaction in the entire shaving industry. That's why my buddy John Taylor is a Harry's man, and you will be too. And how about this? They're putting their money where their mouth is. It's a no-risk trial. You don't like your shave? No worries. It's on them. There's a convenient subscription option you can cancel at any time. What are you waiting for? Don't settle for the status quo. Blaze your own trail with Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/JR. That's harrys.com/JR for a $3 trial set. $3, guys. Go check it out right now. harrys.com/JR.
Now, more with America's leading wrestling broadcaster. It's Wrestling with Jim Ross. You can talk with Jim Ross and his guests by calling 872-0750. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thank you very much, and welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us here on the program. Michael Hayes, our guest here in the studio. We're talking about a variety of things. As a lot of this year will end up with Starrcade 92. Mike, I really enjoyed today's main event. We're going to be talking to Jeff here in a few moments. He wants to talk about that as well, but and I don't know if Jeff liked it or didn't like it. We'll find out here in a few moments. But I really enjoyed the main event today. Some of the current matches, the Vader Nikita Koloff match, I thought was really a power-packed matchup. It just shows how devastating Vader can be.
Man, it really did, because just sitting there and watching the thing back, Nikita is no small man by any stature, but he looked like, it didn't even look like he had the chest, and Nikita has a big chest. And
I enjoyed the 1989, the look at 1989, and I hope that we can do more of that, and I hope that the fans will participate and let us know what they want to see.
Well, being still a fan, and I started out as a fan, I'd like to see where I beat Lex Luger for the United States title from that same Wrestle War in Nashville.
That's your vote, huh?
That's my vote.
All right, let's see. Let's talk about this now. Let's talk to Jeff. Where are you calling from, Jeff?
Rio,
Georgia?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. Where's that?
Right outside of Griffin.
Okay. Well, Jeff, we're happy to have you with us here on AM 750 WSB, and what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to make a comment and maybe ask a question. First off, my comment would be congratulations on the main event tonight. I was very impressed.
Oh, good.
Very good show.
Good deal. I'm glad you liked it.
Second off, the youth movement in WCW. I was wondering if the youth movement might include maybe new managerial personnel. I just think that Paul Lee has, he's still run his course as far. I think he's not effective anymore. What's his position with Rick Rude as it stands?
Well, I know he and Rude still got some sort of association. They're still, but it's not, their relationship has really been strained in the last, since this Medusa situation. And it really was a little strained, I think, prior to that. I really don't know what the root of the problem was exactly, but there was some philosophical differences, apparently, that because I don't think they've been traveling together. Michael, you're out there a lot more than I am. I haven't seen them travel together in quite some time.
No, what? I'd like to make a suggestion for one of the classic matches.
Okay.
Way back, maybe to the very early days on TBS, and maybe see a Mr. Wrestling versus Dory Funk Jr., or Mr. Wrestling versus Jack Briscoe.
Yeah, those would be great. And the thing about it is that we're limited on what we have available because nobody kept those master tapes, believe it or not, as silly as it may sound. Let's talk to GC in Gainesville. GC, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good.
I was going to ask you in Halloween Havoc, whenever Rick Rude, they were showing up at Rick Rude in the STF, or supposedly, and Rick Rude put his head down. Then the fans in the background just boosted out of their seats, and you said that something like you couldn't see what was happening from your vantage point. Do you know what was happening?
No. I do too. There was a fight.
There was?
Yeah, there was a fight.
Oh, that's right, because I came out after my match, and I didn't have a shirt on, and all the women in the whole building.
Okay.
Yeah, well, anyway, thank you, Pinocchio, for that insight there as your nose grows. I think, seriously, I think some fans got a little carried away, and the fans in Philadelphia have a tendency to get carried away from time to time, and they took it out on each other, and it was a heck of a fight up there, and until some of Philadelphia's finest got it under control. GC, thank you. We appreciate your telephone call. Let's go up and talk to young Michael in Marietta. Michael, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross, and how are you?
Hi, Jim. Hi, Michael. Who do you think is the best? I have 2 questions. First one is, who do you think is the best all-around wrestler in all of wrestling today?
Go ahead, Mike.
Well,
you stick your foot in your mouth first.
Yeah, right now, I'd have to say Van Vader. Just because I don't think he can be beat.
That's not a bad idea.
Not on successive nights. He might lose once, like he did to Ron Simmons.
Right.
But, you know, if they had a best out of 7, my money's on Van Vader.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to prepare for a man that weighs 450 that can
He's
move.
2 men.
That can move like he can, yeah. I'd have to go with that too, Michael, right now. I really would. What's your second question?
I wanted to know where Hulk Hogan is.
Hulk Hogan. Well, wherever he is, he's doing fine because he made a lot of money in wrestling. And I think, is he still making another movie?
Yeah, last I seen he was making a movie with Sherman Hemsley from, or is that how you say his name? The guy from the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Jefferson.
Yeah, George Jefferson. That's it.
Yeah, that movie should be about out if it hasn't already been released. I don't know.
And he was in a tutu, ballerina tights.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
So figure that out.
I can't do it. Don't make those comments anymore on radio. Let's talk to John in Riverdale. John, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes. How are you, John?
All right. I'd like to ask the great Michael Hayes when he's going to come back to full-time wrestling.
Well, right now, it's not that I don't want to wrestle, but I am enjoying broadcasting, and obviously it is giving me a reprieve, if you will, because being I'm only 33, I know I've been around forever, I figure this can add a couple years to my career, and quite frankly, being on the outside with beautiful Bobby, Double A, and I believe I'm going to kind of move Paul Lee out of the way and get Rude and probably Steve Austin, too.
Yeah, I've been following your career from way back till present, and I think it's time for you to make a run for a singles title, whether it be the TV title or the world title. I'm the biggest Michael Hayes fan that there is, and it's time for you to go get some more gold.
Okay, cool, brother.
All right, John. Thank you for your call. We appreciate it. Let's talk to Joe in Douglasville. You're on AM 750 WSB. This is Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
I just want to know, first of all, I'd like to congratulate main event today. I thought that was real good.
Good.
And Michael Hayes, I just wanted to tell you I've been a big fan of you ever since your world-class days and your UWF days with the Freebirds.
All right, man. Those were some wild times.
He was only 32 then.
And my question is, who's your pick for Starrcade when Ron Simmons goes up against Rick Rude?
Well, the one thing about Ron Simmons is that any time if he catches you, even if you've got him in a real vulnerable state, anytime he catches you with that power slam, he's probably going to get the 1, 2, 3. But if the match goes 25, 30 minutes, I mean, you've got to give it to Rude. Not that Ron is not in shape, but not the cardiovascular type that Rude is.
Yeah, I think the key thing on that match is the time limit. I don't think Ron has been in wrestling long enough to become technically dominant. He can dominate you physically by overpowering you and being so quick and so sudden with his movements as for such a big man. But he hasn't been in a sport long enough, I don't think, to perfect all the techniques. Rude's got a big advantage there. And the longer the match goes, Simmons has got to carry that 275 longer. Rude's a little leaner. Rude has no excess body fat whatsoever. Certainly not saying Ron does, but Rude's a smaller man. I think he may endure if he can stay away from Ron's power moves. And the longer the match goes, too, it also gives the guy the more opportunity to make a mistake. And
sure.
That may be what Rude's trying to lead Simmons into. That's one theory. Gosh, there could probably be 100 of them. Let's talk to Michelle in Smyrna. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I want to know if you can tell me who the participants are going to be in Battle Ball.
No, I'll tell you what they're going to do. The only names that we know that have entered, there have been several names that have entered, but there's going to be like 40 wrestlers' names, and they're going to pick, 12 more. They're going to pick 16 men will be in Battle Bowl, the first round. And
8 teams.
Yeah, 8 teams. So there have been 2 teams selected. So 6 more teams will be formed through the Lethal Lottery, and that'll be drawn on Monday, December the 28th. So I don't know all the names, but there's about 3 times as many names that have entered than will be able to participate, and maybe we'll find out more. I know Paul Orndorff is one of the 40, but Sting's one of the 40. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm thinking the rules, Sting's got to automatically be in it. They're going to just draw him a partner when they get on December 28th.
But he doesn't have to. That's my point.
Well, he's going to, so we can beat that horse to death if we want to. And Sue wants to talk about something else. And Sue, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Michael Hayes.
Hi, Mr. Ross. Hi, Michael. How y'all doing tonight?
All right.
first thing I want to tell Michael Hayes that I voted for Arn Anderson and Bob Eaton for Tag Team of the Year in the awards this year, and I hope they take it.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate your vote, and you definitely have good taste.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a lot of people out there like you.
Well, I just say they've been more like a team than any others.
Exactly.
They act more like a team. That's why they should be tag team champions.
You know you wrestling, baby.
Okay, and I also want to say y'all did a great job with the main event tonight. That's the best one yet. But looking back at all that at 89,
Well, tell your friends about it and tune in next week.
Yeah, next week it's Flair and Funk.
Oh, yeah, I
that'd be
remember that
good.
real well. And also, I just wanted to send my condolences out to Freddie Miller's family, because he was one of the first, next to Gordon Solie, he was the second announcer I ever saw come to Georgia, and he was one of the best.
Yeah, Freddie was a great one, Sue, and we appreciate your calls. I'm sure that his family appreciates those comments as well. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at this weekend on television. Oh, there it is, my ad-lib sheet. This weekend on TV, of course, it starts off the Power Hour on Saturday morning at 9:05. WCW Saturday night, this Saturday, 6:05, 2-hour broadcast. Sting and Ron Simmons will team to take on Big Van Vader and Ravishing Rick Rude. That'll be on this Saturday night's WCW Saturday night broadcast. We're going to try to talk to Barry Windham. Stunning Steve Austin will go one-on-one with Dustin Rhodes. And Too Cold Scorpio will be there as well on that broadcast. And then next Sunday, another 2-hour main event special for you. It'll start at 6:05 Eastern Time as well. Ravishing Rick Rude will try to derail the great young Japanese star Kensuke Sasaki in what should be a great one-on-one matchup. And then we'll also take you on as our tour continues of 1989, that championship year. We'll stop in July, the Great American Bash, was where Ric Flair and Terry Funk, two great legends in the NWA, went one-on-one. You know, I identified both these guys. I'm 40 years of age, and I think both these guys, Terry's a little older than me. I think Flair's a little older than me. I can identify with that era because we all kind of listen to the same music, normal stuff.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I can't see you and Ric Flair listening to the same music.
Oh, yeah, and you're only 33, though. How would you understand what a 40-year-old likes? But in any event, both these guys, this was almost a little over 3 years ago. Man, they were at the peak. And some said that Funk was past his peak, but in this match here, I don't think so.
No, it wasn't. He was, you just got to watch it.
Fans, we'll be back with more of your calls, 872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. This is Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB.
This is the Stinger here for Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Give him a call and talk to him right now on 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. Call now.
Indeed, call now and be a part of the program. Jim Ross with Michael Hayes back with you. Thanks for being with us. It's 38 degrees right now here in Atlanta. Tonight, clear and cold, a low of 30. Tomorrow here in the Atlanta area, mostly sunny and warmer with a high of 55 degrees. As I said, right now, 38 degrees on top of Peachtree, as Larry would say. Michael and I were talking about this sale coming up on this Bargains and Collectibles sale. It'll be again this Saturday, folks, at the Omni. That's Saturday, December the 5th, at the Omni from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And if your kids are listening out there, admission to the sale is absolutely free for you and your family. Sting, Ron Simmons will be signing autographs beginning at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Cactus Jack and Ravishing Rick Rude. I don't know if they'll have Medusa there or not. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll sign autographs at 11:30. And they got a great selection of merchandise. A good time. Christmas here. If you got wrestling fans in the family, this is the place to be. It'll be a lot of fun at the Omni this Saturday, from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So some of those 3-hour deals. Michael, this, you met this caller already about when you were going to return to the ring, and I know we want to get back to calls. We got calls from Battle Creek, Michigan, and Newport News, Virginia, Savannah, and Statesboro, Ohio, among others on the line. We're going to try to get to before we go off the air. What is this whole situation that seems to be, the animosity seems to be growing between yourself and Eric Watts? Don't you think perhaps it's getting a little bit, the wordage has been, a little bit, even for you, a little bit kind of tough, you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you, I really don't care. Sometimes I try to separate myself as a professional, especially since I'm a broadcaster and carry our show, and try to be more professional. But when it comes to a Watts, And this is just something that goes back to early Freebird days, something that sticks in his father's craw, that I won my first major tag team title by pinning him. I wasn't by myself, but I pinned him. And then his kid comes up. This is not an overflow of feelings that I'm taking out on his son. I would hate Eric Watts if his last name was Hayes.
Mm-hmm. You know, I heard you say that. You know?
And I mean that. Wow. I mean, it's not that I don't appreciate. He was a good quarterback. He was potentially a great quarterback. He is coming along very well and very quickly in wrestling. Mm-hmm. But he's still got the same little beady eyes and that little fat face like his father. And I just got that same greedy desire to shove my fist down his throat.
All right, Mike. Well, calm down now. We only got a few more minutes.
You asked.
I asked. I'm sorry I did. Let's talk to Joe in Savannah. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
How you doing?
All right.
Turn your radio off, Joe.
Okay. Hi, Joe.
See, there you heard yourself, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah.
All right, don't do that anymore. We'll have to come down to Savannah and tear your phone out. All right, what's on your mind?
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Where's Savannah Jack?
Savannah Jack.
Well, I seen him like 87, 88 up in Minneapolis, and I think he'd got out of wrestling.
I think he had some health problems at one time.
Yes, he did. A kidney or something?
Something, heart problems, something like that. Let's talk to Jim in Statesboro, Ohio. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I was wondering about the Giant. Whatever happened to him?
Elegante or Andre?
Elegante.
Elegante, rumored to be going to the WWF, but I think he has also some health problems, and I understand, I don't know if he's got, and I don't know, I don't want to say if he's got sugar diabetes or something, but he's got something that really, it's a serious situation that he has some problem controlling, because obviously his size makes things a little bit difficult sometimes. But I don't think he's wrestling right now. I think he's trying to get his health straightened out.
Yeah, can I get in one more question?
Sure, Jim.
I was wondering if you think the real world's champion's ever going to come back down there.
Well, Jim, you have to give me a little help here. It's later.
Ric Flair.
You never know. That there's stranger things have happened. I think he'd probably like to be competing here right now, but that's just not the case. And he has a commitment where he is, and he's the kind of guy that will fulfill his commitment. Let's talk to John in Battle Creek, Michigan. Hi, John. You're wrestling with Jim Ross.
I'll make it real quick, Jim. I have a comment and then a question for you. The comment was, I loved the Powerhouse, the Power Hour today. I'm a huge WCW fan. I love it. Made me miss those days of old with the Horsemen, Ric Flair, the Mulkeys, the Ding Dongs, and I look forward to Flair coming back when his contract's up.
The Ding Dongs?
Well, yeah, and the Mulkeys. And my question is, I was just destroyed today when I heard Rick Steiner's name in WWF, and with the tag team opening up, I would like to see. I love the youth movement. I think that's great. We need youth.
How was Rick Steiner's name in the WWF?
They said that he's traveling in Washington, believe it or not. I love the youth movement, but I think that WCW could get one big powerhouse man, maybe like the Ultimate Warrior or British Bulldog, with those people. A lot of people are leaving WWF, and I'd like to see WCW spend some money on one big guy and then get a lot of youth, because youth are great, but we also need some, experience and some excitement, too.
You're right. It takes a mix of all of it, John, and we appreciate your call very much. We want to try to, and we thank you for calling. And let's talk to Kent in Newport News, Virginia. Hi, Kent.
Hi, Jim. Thank you very much. Enjoy you and Michael a lot.
Well, good.
Got two quick questions. For those wrestlers that are active in WCW now, which have been wrestling the longest? And second, a wrestler that I really enjoyed when I was a kid was Ray Stevens. Just wonder whatever happened to him.
Probably the guy that's been wrestling the longest, the most experienced, is probably who, Steamboat?
Yes.
How long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling. This is the end of my 16th year, but I didn't wrestle. I wrestled about the first half of the year. But I think Steamboat started about a year or two before I did.
And Michael's only 33, folks. And Ray Stevens, Ray
Stevens started young too.
He did. Ray Stevens. I think Ray Stevens is like a road agent right now for the WWF.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I think Ray is working with some of their young talent, trying to teach them how to wrestle.
Okay, great. I really appreciate it.
All right, bud.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling tonight from Newport News, Virginia.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this very special edition of Grilling JR. I know that you probably were hoping and expecting to hear a little bit from JR about all the news of the last week, and Lord knows there was a lot of it. I got my fingers crossed that JR will be up and running next week, not just so we can record a podcast, but some of my man feels better. I mean, I can't imagine being down for the count with dental work. Like, I am not envious of that at all. And I also want to remind you, hey, in my real life, man, I'm helping people save money. I'd be glad to help you too. If you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to get out of that apartment, if you're looking to sell your house, if you're looking to fix your credit, so you can buy a house. If you're looking to get some pro tips on how to save money to buy a house, or how much you need to buy a house, or maybe you're just trying to save some money on your current bills, maybe get rid of some credit card debt, maybe consolidate a car payment, maybe you just need some cash to do some remodels around the house. Whatever it is, we can help you at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket. Man, if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. You can get a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at savewithconrad.com, or give us a call toll free, 888-425-0105. By all means, give us a buzz, ask for me. We're right here on the Parkway in Huntsville, Alabama, but licensed pretty much all over the country and able to help you remotely. Seriously, think of me next time you need something in that area. You got a friend in the business. You can also just drop me an email, Conrad@savewithconrad.com. If I can be helpful, I'd love to do that. I'd love to let my family help your family. And don't just take my word for it. Go check us out. We got an A+ with the BBB, and you can read all of our 5-star reviews. There's more than 1,000 of them at conradreviews.com. But savewithconrad.com, that's your hookup, man. That's going to do it for us here today. Greatly appreciate all of you tuning in and checking out Grilling JR. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, some new content on Grilling JR, the voice of wrestling, in person, by God, Mr. Jim Ross. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.